Apologies for the slightly weird setup today. I'm in Amsterdam seeing my cousin and I'm staying at her apartment right now, and I didn't want to accidentally dox her, so I decided to try and record in the part of this room that had like the least visible personal things. But unfortunately this is the part of the room that I think has the worst lighting. Like there's literally a big window behind me and there's a really beautiful window over there that is kind of casting a light over there. So as far as my cousin's anonymity goes, this is probably the best spot to film, but as far as the lighting goes, this is probably the worst. So hopefully this video, I'll try color grade it and hopefully it will look somewhat alright. As I said, I'm in Amsterdam and I'm having a really wonderful time, and I brought all of my filming equipment with me, as well as my trusty work notebook where I've been able to write down my October favorites. I literally just finished setting up, but I'm way too hot. Hang on. As usual with my monthly favorites, I don't want to focus too much on material things. Like I have got a few things that I've bought, or like material things that I've been using and really was like, wow, these are so helpful this month. But I also want to try focus on things that I discovered, as in like, I don't know, like life hacks, I guess, or just like cool things that I did this month. I've got something that I ate this month that I thought was really cool. Just in general, trying to not focus too much on material things and purchases. Anyways, let's get started. I've not got a very good order written down for these things. I am going to start with a material thing, even though I just said I'm going to try not focus on that too much. I have got this really beautiful, amazing charm that I've been so in love with. This is the July Rose Jewelry Circus Swan necklace. It is so beautiful. In general, I've just been such a big fan of July Rose Jewelry. I think a lot of people that follow me follow her as well, so I'm assuming that you guys are familiar with her. But she is a jeweler based in Chicago. Just in general, I've like really been eyeing up her work for a while because I feel like her jewelry is clearly very personal and I think speaks to me on a personal level. Like a lot of her old collections, and I think the Circus collection as well, she talks about how they are linked a lot to like her healing. And in general, I think the kind of very whimsical and childlike nature of her art really speaks to me and feels really nostalgic for me. And so she sent me her Circus collection and it's so beautiful. I've got the rest of it at home and I have been wearing the rest of it, and I've also got like the journal charm from that one. It's like a ticket. It's so beautiful. I've got that on my journal that I left at home. However, with me on holiday, I've brought this one because I've been wearing this genuinely most days. Like it's so beautiful. I've not had like a statement necklace in a while. Like I feel like in the past I've had necklaces that I've been really obsessed with and worn like every single day for like a year, but I've not had one for a while. I feel like recently I've been on rings, but this I think is becoming a bit of a statement necklace. It's so beautiful. This is in sterling silver, but she does offer pieces in gold of different, like, I don't know what the word would be, but like different carats. And also she has gold plated and also gold vermeil. I don't know how to pronounce it, but they're like different kinds of plating, I think. I don't know. I don't wear gold, so I don't know a lot about that. I have this beautiful sterling silver swan. She also has, my other favorite from the collection is this elephant, and it's holding a star and it's so beautiful. I've got that one at home, but yeah, I've been swapping them out and they're just so lovely. The next October favourite that I have is something that like I can't believe has only become a favourite in October, but that is tiramisu. I feel like I'm so late to the game. I feel like this is so like, everyone knows tiramisu is banging, everyone knows tiramisu is amazing. I did not know, and I think that is because I don't drink, and even when I did used to drink, I didn't like the taste of alcohol. Like I would only really drink things that didn't taste like alcohol, like the sweetest cocktails ever and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know, I just don't like the taste of alcohol. And I think even in the past when I was younger and I'd have like tiramisu that didn't taste that much like alcohol, it would taste like coffee, and I did not like coffee growing up. So tiramisu was just my hell. It was like, okay, this tastes like alcohol and coffee and also cream, and I'm lactose intolerant, so it was just like the dessert I'd always shy away from, and then I never bothered trying again. However, tiramisu is one of my mum's favourite desserts, but she never makes it and we never really buy it because no one else in the house likes it, which like of course she'd be welcome to buy it for herself if she wants, but she just hasn't really. So I've not like had an opportunity to try tiramisu in a very long time. But it was recently my mum's birthday and my boyfriend's mum made her a tiramisu cake, and she is like such a fantastic, amazing chef, amazing baker. Oh my goodness. Like she makes everything from scratch. I'm pretty sure that alcohol in the tiramisu was made from scratch, and it was so amazing, and I was like, okay, I really do want to try this, and I tried it. Safe to say, I am now a tiramisu lover, and I feel like tiramisu is something that like, it sounds fairly easy to make. I don't know, I might be completely misled, maybe it's very difficult, but I feel like if you can get the basic tiramisu foundation of like a good tiramisu recipe down, it's quite easy to make really beautiful. Like, I am an alright baker, I guess, in terms of taste, but in terms of presentation, I'm absolutely awful. I've made a lot of cakes in the past, like, I don't know, I tried to learn to frost and stuff, but I feel like there's quite a big learning curve with those things, and I am really not that good at all. However, I feel like tiramisu, it's like when you're putting on the, is it cocoa powder on the top? When you're putting that on, I've seen people put like stencils underneath and make like Miffy tiramisu or like writing on the tiramisu, and I feel like you can be a bit more crazy with your presentation of the tiramisu without actually having to be like, I don't know, without having to like learn a huge new skill. So maybe I'm gonna try and make some tiramisu when I get back home. I'm sure my mum will be very happy. I'm now a tiramisu lover. I think I still am not really sure about the taste of alcohol, but I don't know whether you can just like reduce the amount of alcohol or just like not put any alcohol. I'm still like not that much of a fan of alcohol, but I feel like my love of the taste of coffee has gone up so much that I'm able to like grit my teeth through the taste of like, I don't know what alcohol is even in tiramisu. I don't know. I'm really bad at identifying alcohols. I also have now since discovered lactase pills, which aren't as great as people make them out to be. Like, I think a lot of people don't know that you can take lactase and it's actually like an option if you're lactose intolerant. But I have also heard some people, and maybe for them, maybe the type of lactase they take, they're able to like eat anything with lactose, and that's not the case for me. I think lactase like really helps me to not feel too sick, but ultimately I will feel a little bit sick if I have something even with lactase. So I also feel like I can't go too crazy with the tiramisu, but yeah, maybe I'm gonna give it a try, and I can just give most of it to my mum and my boyfriend and his mum, and I won't be able to eat too much because I'll feel very sick. The next thing that I have got written down is setting boundaries around taking photos and videos. And this is something that I definitely had to like incorporate a little bit when I was younger before I was doing this job. But now that I'm doing this job, and I think especially because I'm on holiday now, something I've really realized is I am a lot happier when there are firm boundaries around when I can be taking photos and videos and I want to take pretty photos and videos, and when I want to just like fully be in the moment. I think when I was younger, I don't know, I said that I would have benefited from those kinds of boundaries, but actually I wasn't that bad with it. Or maybe it wasn't even that I was that bad with it, but I just kind of naturally understood to set those boundaries, because I always liked taking photos if taking photos was part of the experience. And that's something I still feel now, and I do have an example to try to explain that a bit better, because I feel like I explained that a bit shit. I feel like I never really liked photos to exist for the sake of the photos existing. Like, if I had to come out of a moment and I felt very dissatisfied coming out of a moment in order to take a photo, I wouldn't really like to do that. And I think that's kind of just like because of my general philosophy around life and the way I do things, which just like feels very natural to me, and perhaps someone else wouldn't feel natural, which is that I really like the experience of things in the moment, and I don't really like things existing for something else. Like, for example, something that like, I don't know, there was like not a discourse about really, but a few people spoke about on my TikTok was that I mentioned that when I'm on a walk alone, an example of something that you can do, because people are asking for tips as to what you can do if you're on a walk by yourself, is to come up with poems, but then to just let yourself forget them. Like, you don't have to write them down, you don't have to do anything with them, just like come up with a great poem and then just forget it and come up with another one. And a lot of people were like, no, if I come up with a great poem, I really want to remember it, I need to write it down. And I think that I perhaps felt that way when I was a lot younger, but then I reached a point where I was like, I feel a bit unsatisfied with how I think I just like perhaps had a bit of a controlling nature as a kid, and I was like, oh, this makes me really unhappy, I don't want to be this controlling anymore. And I recognized that part of that controllingness was also wanting to have things, and I don't even mean have material things, but like have this poem that I came up with and make sure that it like stays with me. And like, I don't know, every piece of art I made, I want it to stay exactly as it is. I don't want anything to like happen to it, I don't want to accidentally ruin it, I don't want to accidentally like, I don't know, spill something on it, because I want everything to remain as it is. And I think that was part of my controlling nature. And then as I tried to like very consciously undo that, I think I undid a lot of just more general kind of ideas around wanting things to stay static, and in turn really coming to appreciate and love change and continuity and the impermanence of things and la 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 la. And I think maybe that's why I just don't really like taking photos that much if the photo taking isn't part of the experience, because I feel like that is almost like tapping back into my old past of like wanting to be quite like, no, I want to remember things exactly as they are, and all of these things have to be fixed and I want them to all stay exactly as they are. And yeah, I think I just like don't want to go back into that mindset, and so I kind of lean away from anything that feels like that. However, obviously, because this is my job now, I do have to take photos of things, and I have to take very pretty photos of things, and I have to take very pretty photos of myself. I don't have to, but it probably is like good, especially with like Instagram. I kind of do have to, because that's like the point of the app, I guess. But even with like TikTok and stuff, for example, Amsterdam is a really, really beautiful city. And occasionally I've been saying to my partner like, oh, can you take a photo of me here? Or oh, can you take a video of me here? But I find that it makes me a bit sad. And I think it just kind of makes me feel like I'm back in that mindset I had when I was a kid. I don't know, this pressure that like I have to look pretty and this photo has to be perfect, because the photo is existing as its own thing. And so it has to be good on its own. And then it just like adds a lot of pressure and I get really stressed. And I think it's not that deep, and a lot of people don't seem to have this problem. I think this is just like a very personal way that I view things that then impacts the way I'm able to do things. But basically a very good, I guess, like fix that has been to set boundaries around when is work time and when is not work time. What is a photo experience and what is a non-photo experience? So for example, I went on a canal tour and I was like, okay, this is absolutely beautiful, but also I feel like I can appreciate this experience while taking photos, and it won't take away too much from my experience to do so. So I allocate this experience as a photo and video taking experience, and I'll be allowed to take photos for my work, but also for myself, because as much as I'm saying, oh, now for my work I have to take lots of photos, I also do just like taking photos myself anyways. But then also I went on a walk and I said to myself, this walk is a no photo, no video walk. I'm just going to enjoy this walk. And then it's great because I think my brain is a little bit more like, okay, I'm in photo mode, or I am in like completely present, completely in the moment mode. I do feel like there's a bit of leeway, and that's kind of what I mean now about the photo taking being part of the experience. We went to, God, I can't remember what it's called, this museum, the very, very famous museum in Amsterdam. I'm having a brain fart, but like the famous museum of Amsterdam. We went there and I don't know, I hadn't really thought beforehand about whether or not I'd want to take photos there, and I ended up taking a few photos and videos, but then I just kind of felt a bit stressed because I was like, man, this art is so beautiful, but I'm not even focusing on how beautiful the art is, because I'm focusing how to make the art look beautiful on my phone and how to also position myself so that I look beautiful and the art looks beautiful and we all look beautiful in this photo. But now I'm no longer focusing on how beautiful the art is, and I just kind of found the whole thing quite stressful. So then I was like, okay, boom, no more photos. But then I saw this incredible sculpture. It's of Cupid, and Cupid has like his head slightly tilted down and he's like doing like this pose. And I was like, this is such an awesome pose, like wait, copying that. And so I asked my partner to take a photo of me doing that pose with Cupid. Then I was like, okay, hang on, I want to see what other crazy poses we can copy, because something that I always struggled with art, the way that objects appear spatially. Like I always struggled when I used to want to do art as a kid with how to position objects and how to position, like what form will the objects take for them to look aesthetically pleasing when they're like on a 2D plane. And same with modeling as well. It's not just that you have to focus on like knowing good poses and like how to pose with the outfit or whatever, but you have to understand how that pose would translate to then like a 2D image. Suddenly I was just like, wait, all of these poses in these paintings are insane. Like it's so cool how the artist, I don't know, it's just like, I guess because I don't have a very artistic mind, I really struggle to be able to think about things this way. And so when I see someone else do it well, I'm always like, wait, impossible, like you're a genius. And I feel like it's so amazing how artists are able to understand how things should translate spatially. And so we went around and I saw loads of other paintings and sculptures, and I was trying to focus on the poses that they were all doing. And so me and my partner had a bit of a game where we went around, and whenever we saw a crazy pose, I'd have to try copy it as best as possible and he'd take a photo, and it was so fun. And in that case, the photos weren't being taken for the final product of having the photo, but the photo taking in itself was really, really fun, and I really enjoyed that. But anyways, yeah, I think that the kind of like boundaries around photo taking and like when I'm working, when I'm not, is something that I've been working on for a while, and I've definitely mentioned already on here. But I think I've had a bit of like a grey area where I don't always take photos for my work. Sometimes I take photos for myself, but then when I'm doing that, I'm like, oh, but maybe these can be used for my work, and then it becomes a bit of a grey area. So I think having even firmer boundaries around like, today I can take photos for myself and for my work, and today no photos, photos banned, has been really, really good and really beneficial for me. Next, I have a new pen. This is the Pilot G-Tech C Mica 0.4mm. I have been on my fountain pen grind for a very long time, as I'm sure regular viewers know, and I still really love fountain pens. I'm a fountain pen lover, fountain pen girl. However, I've not used a rollerball in so long, and I think a lot of the rollerballs I have are quite thick. And then my boyfriend lent me this pen for my uni work, and I was like, wait, my handwriting looks so effing good, and this is such a thin pen, like deliciously thin. I really like a thin, crisp line. It's just so comfortable to write with, and I feel like as much as I love fountain pens, the way you write with fountain pens is quite different to rollerballs, and I feel like I like the difference. Like I like having fountain pens for some uses, but also I've been using fountain pens for so long that I forgot that rollerballs also feel really, really nice, and I feel like having both now has been so wonderful. And so I've got this wonderful pen given to me by my partner, and he also bought me some refills because when he gave it to me, it was like basically finished. This pen has been amazing. I love this pen so much. I actually wrote, let me show you guys, this October favorites list. was written with this pen. It's so crisp, so beautiful, and I feel like my handwriting is a lot better when I use this pen. Like fountain pens, I feel like always look nice even if your handwriting is bad, and my handwriting is definitely bad, but I feel like with this pen my handwriting actually looks a bit better, so that's quite nice. Love, 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 love a super thin pen, and this pen has been so great. Next I have Amsterdam written down. Amsterdam itself. I love the Netherlands. I've been here many times. My cousin lives here and she's lived here for years. I've come quite a few times to visit her. She's been living in Amsterdam for a while, but before that she was living in a different city, city, I'm not sure, in the Netherlands, which was so beautiful. I loved it there as well. I don't know, I love the Netherlands. Every time I've been here and everywhere I've been here has been so wonderful, to the point where I've even been saying to my partner, like, maybe for like a year we could move here or something. It's just so wonderful, and I think I feel very at home here. I struggle a little bit, not with traveling, I was gonna say I struggle with traveling. I'm fine with traveling, but I struggle with envisioning myself in places. Like, I think when I travel, I'm very aware of the fact that it's temporary and no one's forcing me to like be here for long, and I'm not gonna have to settle down here. But a lot of places I can't really imagine myself settling down, which is a bit weird because I hear that a lot from people who've lived in one place for their whole life, but I haven't. I moved around loads in my life, and maybe it's because I moved around so much, and then now I've lived in England for so long that it finally feels like, okay, finally, like I have a place that's like consistent and I like can kind of see as a home, that I'm very reluctant to imagine having to move all over again, because I did that so much in my childhood. But Amsterdam, maybe it's partly because my cousin lives here, so I already feel that kind of like familial bond to the place, and also because I've been here so many times. I could imagine myself living here, and maybe not forever. I really want to live close to my mum, but for like a year or two maybe. And I've been quite tempted. I've been thinking about it. I read recently in a book about Paris. I think he explained it as like Paris is a city that comes alive at night, and I definitely remember that being the case when I went to Paris. But I think that's very similar for Amsterdam as well. Amsterdam is so beautiful at night, it's so charming and like just like really delightful at night, but it is also so wonderful in the day. I remember not liking Paris that much in the day, but I did go in like a really low point in my life, and I think like that was probably part of it as well. And I also didn't speak French and stuff, so it's like, oops, I'm sure that my experience of Paris was made worse by a lot of factors. However, in the Netherlands, I feel like it is so beautiful and cozy and romantic and gorgeous at night, but during the day it is so wonderful as well. Like, it is just constantly so beautiful in different ways depending on like when and like what time of the year, but it's just always like so wonderful to be here. Also, a great thing about Amsterdam is, first of all, that it is very English speaker friendly, which is really nice, because like I am really bad at learning languages, and I don't want to go somewhere and expect people to speak English, because I think that is a bit shitty. Like, for example, when I went to Paris, I booked the tickets like 2 days before going, so of course I didn't know any French, but I think like, oh, no one spoke any English is like no one's bad at all. That was fully my bad for not learning French, and I should have learned a bit of French before going. But I'm really bad at learning languages, and so that is a big stress for me before holidays, with like, oh man, like, okay, I've learned a few words, but like I'm definitely gonna forget them, because I've just always struggled with languages so much. Like, English is my third language. I forgot my first two languages. English is the only language that I speak, and I am not even English. It's ridiculous. So I've always been very stressed about, if I were to move outside of the UK, I don't want to expect anyone to speak English. I want to learn the language of the country that I'm living in, but like I'm so bad at learning languages that like, am I going to be able to do that, and like how long will it take me? However, Dutch is apparently really easy for English speakers, and also loads of people in the Netherlands are English speakers. Like, my cousin doesn't speak Dutch, she speaks English, and she's lived here for years. So it's like, okay, I don't feel as shitty coming here and speaking English, and also learning the language will probably be not as difficult as learning another language. Maybe Soggy Rice 3 Netherlands apartment is in the future. Next, I have suitcases. I recorded a video of me packing. I don't think I'm gonna upload it because like it was kind of boring, to be honest. It was just me like packing my bags and like being really stressed. I might upload it, we'll see. But in that video, I was talking about the fact that I didn't buy a suitcase because I only really go traveling to see my cousin, to be honest. I just don't really go on holiday much. If I ever do go on holiday, I don't bring that much stuff with me. I've always been able to pack all my holiday stuff in like one backpack and a tote bag or something. However, this holiday, I had to pack a lot more because I was doing a few brand deals. Like, I brought all of my recording stuff. I had to bring some of the products for the brand deals. I also had to bring my laptop in order to work and also do uni stuff. And so it ended up being a lot heavier and just like a lot more little bits and bobs than I'd usually take with me. It ended up being like two tote bags, a backpack. The problem though is my backpack is really old. Like it's from when I was in lower school. So it's really old. By lower school, I don't mean primary school. I mean like secondary, but not sixth form. It's like what, like 5 or 6 years old. And the straps are broken. So they like really dig into you, and it was so heavy. And then the tote bags were digging into me as well. And I was walking to my partner's house before getting my train, and it was also really hot. And so I was carrying my fur coat and all of these bags, and the bags all have straps that like aren't really designed to carry heavy things. And so everything was digging into me, and I was so overwhelmed and I was so overheated. And when I got to my partner's house, I started crying because I was like, I cannot go to Amsterdam. Like, I'm sorry, I have to change. I have to get so many trains. It's gonna be such a long journey. I'm traveling on my own. Like, I can't do this. And his parents were like, it's okay, girl, you can borrow one of our suitcases. And I felt really silly because I'd cried so much, but they let me take one of their suitcases, and I really quickly repacked everything into the suitcase. Oh my god, suitcases are the best thing ever. I think I'm gonna buy one, if not when I get back home, definitely before I go on another trip. The amount of stuff that you can fit in a suitcase is insane. In the end, I only had one bag, everything else, including my huge fur coat, in my suitcase, and it was so easy to carry. And I also feel like, I don't know, just the weight distribution, the way that you carry it, like everything about it is amazing. Okay, next I've written down, wait, what is this? Pushing myself with the whole idea of no one will make me overcome this. So something I think about a lot, I think especially as someone who grew up kind of with not the best mental health, especially now that I'm an adult and people kind of leave me alone and like trust that I know what's best for myself. No one will make me overcome a lot of the things that I would like to overcome. Not only is like no one else responsible for that and no one else is going to do it for me, but also no one else is really going to push me. And that's kind of vague. So like an example which has kind of led me to this thought. Recently, I've been doing my little like anxiety pushing myself challenge, where I noticed that I was starting to like not develop social anxiety again because it wasn't that bad, but I was definitely in the early stages of like getting very complacent with pushing myself and with, I guess, like working on my social skills, because I guess it's like a muscle, and I just like wasn't really doing it. I was staying in situations where I was very, very comfortable, and so when I had to do anything that was even mildly uncomfortable, I would be so anxious. And I was like, wait, I have had social anxiety before. I can see this going down really, really bad. And so I wanted to kind of nip it in the bud. And I started to really push myself because I realized like, yeah, okay, if I say, hey, I'm anxious, I don't want to go to this, I'm anxious, I don't want to do this, no one is going to make me do it. But I'm the one that's going to have to miss out on opportunities and not get to do certain things. Everyone is really wonderful and understanding, but I want to be able to do these things. And so I have to push myself if I'm able to. And I did feel like I was able to. And so I pushed myself, and yeah, it actually really, really helped. It took like a while for it to feel nice. Like in the first few weeks, I'd push myself and do things I was anxious about, and I would not feel good after, I would not feel good during, like it was just really, really bad. But then with time, it has now become like, I'm back to normal. I don't really feel anxious about a lot of stuff that I was feeling anxious about a few months ago. And so I've just kind of thought more generally about how like, there's a lot of experiences or like ways I would like to be that I feel like I can't, and not like because I can't for any external reason. I just like don't really feel comfortable doing so. But ultimately, I guess like my ideal self is someone who would be able to do those things. And so I've been trying to push myself. So for example, something that I struggle with a bit is I am slightly avoidant. Not deeply though. I think I am around people who are so expressive with their love that in comparison to them, I'm quite avoidant. But I think if you were to put me in the general population, you probably wouldn't be able to tell. And I'm only avoidant about like very, very extreme shows of love. Like it's actually really not that bad. But I think because the people around me are so like, so comfortable being vulnerable, being like intensely, insanely vulnerable, it doesn't faze them in the slightest. And it does faze me quite a bit to be very vulnerable. I don't have to be any more vulnerable. No one's making me. Everyone is fine with the way that I am. But I sat with myself and I was like, would I like to be able to be as vulnerable and comfortably vulnerable as they are? And I was like, damn, I actually would quite like to be. And so I've been trying to push myself because, yeah, I just kind of realized like there's nothing to be scared of. Like there is nothing to be scared of, and I know there's nothing to be scared of. It's just very unfamiliar to me. So, okay, let's make it familiar for me. And I've been pushing myself, and I think it's been going quite well. But yeah, just in general with a lot of traits that I've like wanted to have, or things that I've wanted to overcome that like don't really bother people too much, and no one really cares whether I overcome it or not because it's not like an issue for anyone. No one is going to make me overcome this, but I would like to overcome this. And so I've been trying to push myself, and it's been going really well, I think. I don't know. And last of all, my October favorite is my Surat Relevi Lash Curler. This has been my favorite lash curler for years. It is very expensive, especially compared to drugstore lash curlers, which is what I'd used my whole life. And I like use lash curlers a lot. I use lash curlers every day, probably for like a decade, to be honest. Like I have been the lash curler queen for a while. However, I started to realize that I was developing a red rash around my eyes like a few years ago, and I stopped doing all my eye makeup, and then I was like, okay, I'll slowly ease back into eye makeup and I'll just curl my lashes. And then like the day after I was like, oh my god, I've got like that red kind of like eczema rash again. And I already knew that I had a nickel allergy that mostly was around my earlobes. However, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if this is true, but this is just like from what I've read and I think has been like in line with my experience, nickel allergies get worse with more exposure. So I assumed that before I was able to hack the amount of nickel that was in my lash curler, but it got to a point where like even pressing my lash curler against my eyelids would give me an eczema reaction. So I was like, damn, I need to give up the lash curler or I need to find a nickel-free lash curler. And the only one I could find that was like definitely 100% nickel free and like actually said it was nickel free was the Surat Relevy lash curler. It was £30, which I was like, okay, I've never paid anywhere near this much for a lash curler, but considering the fact that I now cannot use most other lash curlers, and I use lash curlers every day, I'm gonna give it a try. And now looking back, nickel allergy aside, if I had known how good this was, I might have bought it sooner, to be honest. For me and my eye shape, this works so much better than any other lash curler I've ever used. This, first of all, is like quite flat and apparently is designed for almond eyes. And for me, like I've got almond eyes and I think specifically like Asian eyes. I've also got very stubborn Asian lashes, which you probably wouldn't be able to tell because in most of my videos, my lashes are quite like nice and like high up and fluffy. And that is only because of this. This is also very gentle. It has never pinched me, whereas most other lash curlers do pinch me quite badly. And it's very wide, so you don't have to like go over all the lashes loads and loads of times. If you want to be quick with it, you can literally just like whoop whoop and you're done. The reason this is on my October favorites is because I forgot about my nickel allergy and that was the reason I bought this, and my old one of these after years had finally broken and I was like, okay, whatever, I've used this for years, I need to buy a new one, but it was sold out in most places and I could only buy it from the Surat website and it was quite expensive shipping, so it ended up being quite a bit more than like I would have paid for it. And I saw that the Shiseido lash curler was like quite a bit cheaper, still very expensive and still definitely like a fancy lash curler, but cheaper than this one. So I decided to give that one a try. No hate to Shiseido, but first of all, I have a nickel allergy, which I forgot about, and that one is not nickel allergy safe. I think as far as the curl goes, it's really good. It's a really good lash curler, but it is not as amazing as this one is. The Shiseido one is definitely better than drugstore lash curlers. Like you're definitely getting the bang for your buck, but it's a bit thinner. No, not thinner, sorry. It's a bit like, I guess maybe thinner, like it's not as wide. You have to do it for a lot longer and like it's a bit harder to get all of your lashes, and it also did pinch me a few times. But most importantly, of course, it is not nickel free, and so I gave that one to my mum because I was like, oh wait, like the whole reason I even bought this is because of the fact that it's nickel free, and I ended up having to just swallow my pride and buy the expensive shipping option, but I bought this, and yeah, honestly in my experience so worth it because the last one lasted me years and it's something that I use every single day. It only broke because I stepped on it and I'm very clumsy. I think it probably could have lasted a lot longer, although also the like refills ran out because I stepped on it ages ago, but I just didn't want to buy a new one until the current refill had like finished. The actual like lash curler could probably last really long. Anyways guys, those are all of my October favorites. I really hope that the lighting is going to be okay. I don't really know because the lighting has changed a few times. Earlier there was a bit more sun and I can see now that the clouds have kind of gone over there. So I hope that you guys are able to see me and it doesn't look too awful. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what your October favorites are. Also, happy Halloween. I hope you guys are having a fun Halloween. I'm not doing anything because I am on holiday. I think my friends are having a party, which I unfortunately will not be at, but I hope everyone's having a lovely Halloween and I hope everyone is enjoying themselves. Please like this video if you like the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already and comment and let me know what your October favorites are. And also, out of curiosity, because I am always so bad of coming up with Halloween costume ideas, if you're dressing up for Halloween, can you let me know what you're dressing up as? Because I'm very nosy as someone who is always very uncreative on Halloween. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.